have the player controller onto the... We did it. Okay, player controller. Got it. Ooh. Hey. Drag the new script. Got it. Click on the vehicle to make sure it was added, and it is. Okay. Mark it completed. Alright, let's add the comment and update the whatever the parentheses method. In order to make the vehicle move forward, we have to first open our new script to get familiar with the development environment. Alright, let's add a comment and update the parentheses method.
We've created a scripts folder and we've created our first C# script and we've applied it to our vehicle as a component. And now we're actually going to get familiar with our script and the structure of it before we write any of our code inside of it. So make sure that in your assets folder you have it expanded, and then you open up your scripts folder by expanding it. And then if you double click on the player controller script, now you can see that my script has opened up in my IDE, which stands for an Integrated Development Environment. And basically, an IDE enables us to actually interact with our code and write lines of code and text inside of it. So you can actually see there's words that you would be very familiar with, like words like using and public and class. And so very similar to how you would write a note or write an essay in a text document, our IDEs enable us to actually write for our programs. So I'm just going to clean mine up a little bit. There's a whole bunch of information here that's not entirely necessary, so I'm actually going to go on my IDE, close this little Solution Explorer. I don't really need that. I don't need the Team Explorer either. I don't need the properties. Cool, so now I have a full screen. I'm going to make this a little bit larger. It's just a little hard to see. So on the bottom left, I have this little zoom option. So I'll set this to 200. It's pretty good. Now, my IDE is set to Visual Studio. That's actually the default that you would get downloaded on Unity. If not, you can always go to the website to go download Visual Studio from Microsoft. You might also notice that some of the colors are very different. Maybe you have a white background. That's just a setting of mine. I just turned my settings to be a dark background. I use some different colors for words because it helps make it easier for me to see. So you can change those settings on your own, or if you're using a different IDE, then you should be able to customize it in your own ways. But if you download Unity for the first time, you will download Visual Studio. Now, if we take a look at our class, I mentioned it before, but you can see all these words that are very familiar to you. Words like using, words like public and class. And a really helpful thing about an IDE is that in my case, it actually highlights certain words that are very important for a person and a computer to understand. So the different words that are actually highlighted in blue are standard keywords that your computer is made to understand. With our script itself, our player controller, you can see the name that we made before, and in fact, there's this weird colon icon. And so that icon actually means that this player controller inherits from another class called monoBehavior. And monoBehavior is actually a class that's applied to all the different objects that we create. So actually, if we made a script for our obstacle, it would also use things from monoBehavior. And that's very helpful because in monoBehavior, a lot of different things that we would need to write ourselves are already made in Unity. So it's really helpful and really easy to get started. For example, we have these two methods here, and you can tell they're methods because they have the word void, and then they have these parentheses, and then they have these curly brackets. So this usually tells you that this is a method statement, and here's actually where we can go write in some code if we wanted to. So start is a method that, as you can see, actually has a comment up here that is called before the first frame updates. So when you press play on your game, it would call the start method. Versus the update method, another method from monoBehavior. And update is called once per frame. So this is actually constantly checking in your game for different calculations it should make or different things that it should be checking against if you have a box that collides with something else or something like that. And the difference here you can see, so these two forward slash marks actually create a comment, and your computer will not read what is on this line of code. So comments are for the purpose of a person to understand what they're reading inside of a method, versus the methods are actually the pieces of information that your computer needs to run certain tasks. So now, in our update method, we're going to write our very own comment. So make sure that you have your text selection inside of the update method. And then if you write slash slash two forward slash marks, we can say we'll move the vehicle forward. And so now this is where we're going to write our line of code to move the vehicle forward. But for now, we're just going to make a note for ourselves that this is where we're going to do it. So what you're going to do is you're going to double click on your player controller script, and then your player controller script should open in the Integrated Development Environment, or IDE, that was set by Unity. And then in your player controller script, down in this section of code here, right after public class player controller, you can see all of the different methods that are automatically added by Unity. And specifically in our update method, we'll write a comment using two forward slash marks so that we can tell ourselves that this is where we'll write code to move the vehicle forward. Now it's your turn.
Okay. Alright, let's hope Visual Studio works. I don't know if it's installed. Okay, so, double click on the script, open it in Visual Studio. Just give me Visual Studio. Why is it taking so long? Alright, folks, hold on while I get Visual Studio. I'll be back. Yeah, just, I'll find some. I can't even find any music. Hold on a sec. I will be back. Take a break.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity.